So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how I shape my nail and correct the curvature of my nail by using a hot spoon. So by heating up a spoon and curving the nail back into shape using a hot spoon. So what I'm going to do in this video is let me first just give you some context on why I might do this. And then I'll do some close-ups showing you how I do it and just showing the process. And then I'll also just be kind of like talking about it a little bit more at the end as well. So why would we do this? Well, my nail, especially my eye finger here, has a real curving down dip in the middle of the nail, which means when I shape it the way I want, it catches on the string quite a bit. It just doesn't make for an ideal nail shape. So by heating up a spoon, which I'll show you in a bit, and then using a little bit of pressure on the nail, you can reform the curvature of the nail temporarily for playing. Before I go any further, just a small disclaimer. Don't try this. Don't do it. But if you do it, it's at your own risk. I'm doing it. But I did resist doing it for a long time because the idea of having a hot spoon next to my flesh was not very appealing to me, of course. And I've watched other videos like Matthew McAllister's good video on this topic, which I'll link to. But his nails are so much longer. I use quite short nails, so it's like actually quite a bit of a danger. So I'm actually using like something in between my flesh and the nail to prevent injury, and by doing that, I finally started trying it, and it's quite beneficial for my one problem nail. So that's kind of why we do it, and it does really work well. I'll talk later in the video about how long it lasts and some other concerns about this, but like I said, at your own risk, and now let's take a close-up of how I actually do it. So here's my fingernail. As you can see, I'm not sure how well you can see in the video here, but it curves down in the center there quite a bit. I'll try from some different angles here so you can see more clearly. But it has this dip in the center, which is the issue. So it's time to bend it. So we take our trusty spoon here, and we take a lighter, and we start heating up the spoon. It doesn't take very long. I like to do it from a few angles. Just want to get it nice and hot. It's probably pretty hot at this point. So because I'm like absolutely terrified of doing this, I found this like picture hanger thing, piece of metal, which is for like hanging pictures from like a molding, an old school molding in your house. But it just happens to fit my fingernail. And so I can push my fingernail over the edge of that. I don't know how well you can see in the video, but I can push it over and I can push it up a little bit so that there's a barrier between my flesh and the spoon. And then I just place the spoon on there. Whoops. I kind of tilt the finger back and forth on the spoon. And it starts shaping that nail. Because my nail's so short, it's not as visibly clear. If you watch McAllister's video, for example, his long nails, you can really see it doing its thing. It's a little bit more subtle on mine. And maybe all this talking, actually, I think I have to heat it up again. I'll just do that one more time. Get it nice and hot. Get my trusty protection on. Just start bending that nail up. So you can apply quite a bit of pressure. I feel much more comfortable using this protection though, because I really want to apply quite a bit of pressure, but I slip sometimes and that spoon comes like flying into my finger. So it's quite dangerous. So I find having this little protective piece of metal is very important. So if you can just find like some scrap piece of metal that wraps around your finger like this or something similar, it may help keep that hot spoon off your flesh, which is definitely preferable. So that's the basic idea. And I'm not sure if you can really tell from the video, but it's dipping way less. And that's just enough to make it slide off the string in a much better fashion so it doesn't catch anymore. And it was quite amazing when I first started doing it because suddenly, I think I was compensating with my eye strokes a lot, but now I don't have to. It's the curvature of that fingernail is just so much better now. So when I shape it the way I want, it doesn't catch on the string anymore. So that's the basic method. You got your trusty spoon, which is a little bit on the shady side. You got your lighter. And I found this protective little piece of metal, which happens to be a picture hanger. But I really like the shape because I can kind of grab it with over here and thrust my nail into it. You can kind of see it underneath my nail there. So it just exposes the outer nail so I can really go at it. I'm too scared to do it without this kind of protection on my fingernail. I'm too frightened to do it. So, but when I found this, I was like, oh, this is going to work out perfectly. So that's the general idea. Everyone's nails are different, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of variation in how you approach it and making it work best for you. Also, I'm only doing it on the eye finger because that's the finger that's an issue. So I'm really only using it on my one finger that actually bends quite a bit. Now, how long does it last? It lasts about 48 hours, but I would say more safely like just 24 hours or just like, a full practice session, right? I do it not before I'm practicing. I actually just do it at my desk when I'm reading an article or waiting for something to load on my computer. It only takes 30 seconds to do. So I just do it, earlier in the day when I'm just sitting around the spoon and my table over there. And then when I go to practice later, it's still in the shape. So it's inconvenient, but in another way, like you don't have to do it right before you play. That would be a little bit awkward and annoying to do. Maybe it's in its best shape right after you do it, so you could do it in close proximity, but I don't think you have to do it like every time you pick up your guitar. You don't have to bend your nail and get out your little spoon, which is a little shady. So, but that's about how long it lasts. Of course, there's other alternatives. You can use fake nails. Lots of professional players use fake nails these days. There's ones that you glue on, but there's also ones with like double-sided tape that you put on. There's all these options now. But this is certainly an option that allows you to keep your natural nail. And for me, this is, unless my nails get worse or something like that, I'll just be using this just on my eye finger. And I don't even do it all the time, but if I'm recording a video or doing a special concert or something like that, it will be something I do earlier in the day of those events. So I hope you found that helpful. Don't do it, but if you do it, it's at your own risk. But that's the method of shaping your nail with a hot spoon.